Clicking on this video, you probably thought out loud, yes, Sonic has been voiced by many people, and I think with the new direction Sonic seems to be taking, it's only natural for the voices to change. Now, this isn't a slander piece on Roger. I happen to have grown quite fond of his voice. I liked him in Free Riders, Colors, Gens, Boom, and I even like his new take in Frontiers on Sonic. However, if I can theorycraft for a second, I think Frontiers marks the start of a new era, and not just in terms of gameplay. Now, I could be talking out of my ass, but Frontiers Resolution kind of feels like the end of the characters we know as they go off to do different things in their futures. Again, completely talking out of my ass here, but the end of an era and the start of a new one usually means new character voices in the eyes of Sonic Team. And we've had these voices for 10 plus years, and there's no better way to breathe new life into Sonic than changing the way he sounds. If you're not gonna change the way he looks. Now, who do I think should voice Sonic in my humble fan opinion? By the way, get ready for this to go straight into fan casting territory. I have a few choices for Sonic, but my number one is Max Mittelman, the voice of Ryuji Persona 5, Ito Genshin Impact, and Red 13 Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yo! Hey! Got here as fast as I could. Okay, piece of cake! Yeah! Alright! I was just looking for something to do. No sweat. I was tired of waiting. Time to go wild! I'm behind that! Alright, let's go! Later!
Personally, he wouldn't even need to change from his Ryuji or Ito voice, cause that would eat as Sonic. He'd make Sonic sound young, adventurous, cool, plus broken yell.
Stop looking down on me with that stupid smile on your face! Damn!
My next choice would be James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Ratchet from Ratchet & Clank, and Johnny Test.
Oh, great. You're gonna try and kill us, aren't you? Yeah, not so tough with a ton of rocks on your head, are ya? Come on, we gotta catch up. Sweet. We ought to go fishing more often. What are the chances these guys are not coming to kill us? I was just starting to like the big fella. Another one bites the dust. Race you to the top. Nice one, pal. Nice moves. Yeah, got it. I'm on my way. I'll just borrow this. You're just too slow.
He would also bring something great to the table, and, like Max, would be able to deliver on Sonic's snarkiness without it being too much. I've been drinking the Kool-Aid, and I can't unhear him as a possible new Sonic. Like, he just sounds so good. And I know I'm not alone on these thoughts. I've seen people mod Max's voice into games. I've seen Twitter compilations of both VAs and what they would sound like as Sonic all over Twitter. I also want to throw in Zeno Robinson, the voice of Junpei Persona 3 Reload, and Hunter Owlhouse. Another really great choice. I think he could also really deliver on a Sonic voice. Now, I know a lot of people want Jason or Ryan back, and hey, me too. Personally, I don't really trust Studiopolis to give good direction like that. They've burned me many times in the past. Speaking of direction, I can already hear the people in the comments going, but with good direction, Roger's the GOAT. And you're probably right, that's been far and few between. Even though I enjoy his performances, it's not just the direction, it's also his vocal tone, which is why my choices are the way they are. I kind of like Sonic to have this cool, sort of airy voice. I don't know if that's how you describe it, but when I think of Sonic, I think of someone who's carefree, adventurous, cool, young. And right now, Sonic's voice just isn't giving that. And I get the direction they were going for in Frontiers, a more mature Sonic who's reflecting on his past adventures. And that is a cool concept, don't get me wrong. I love the dialogue in Frontiers. But I think now with the new direction that they could possibly go in, now is the time for Sonic to kind of, I wouldn't say reset, but kind of go back to what he was before. Just like cool as fuck. And I get that we're in a totally different time where cool may not mean the same thing as it did back in the early 2000s or the 90s, but it can still mean something. And Sonic just isn't hitting that right now. And I'm not saying that Sonic should just be this free and adventurous person with no character depth at all. Like I said, I do like that they're letting Sonic reflect on his past adventures, but at the same time, I feel like Sonic should also still feel young and adventurous. And this thought also extends to certain other characters like Shadow and Knuckles, whose voice actors I don't really jive with. Even though they've been getting better direction in the past few years, I still would like to hear something else. Knuckles especially. Knuckles irks me. I don't know what they're doing with bro, but it is not working. Y'all need to go back in the studio and cook. Whoever thought of that Team Sonic Racing voice actor and the way he was speaking, yo, y'all need to be fired for real, I swear. I do not need Knuckles sounding like a dumb surfer bro. Please, he is the guardian of the Master Emerald and an Echidna warrior. Please make him sound cool. Or just make him not sound stupid. My favorite voice actor for Sonic just so happens to be Jason. I mean, whose isn't? But I also love Ryan, and I think they did so well with Sonic, especially in that time frame. And now that we have more standards for voice acting, hearing them come back, if they do come back, which probably isn't the reality, but if they do, I feel like they would elevate Sonic 2. My favorite Shadow voice has always been David Humphries. The way he sounded in SA2, Heroes, I mean, he just ate that role up, and I love that he made Shadow kind of sound like a theater kid and not what Shadow has become now, this grungy, deep-voiced, smoker voice thing. And I understand that we're in a totally different era than back then, and I don't like being the back in my day when I was growing up, Jason was the voice of Sonic and he fucking murdered it. But I feel like tides are changing and people are realizing how good we had it and why we should probably go back. I am an avid believer that if you're going to get a voice for a character, they need to fit that voice. And no offense, I just don't think Roger fits. Even though, again, I like his performances, I don't think he's fitting Sonic anytime soon. And I get that to some people, that just is Sonic. You grew up with him as Sonic and everywhere. Wreck-It Ralph, Sonic Boom TV show, the games. Also very similar to how I grew up with Jason being everywhere in the TV show, in the games. But I want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys hear Roger in the comics when you read the comics? Who do you hear? I've always wondered that because I don't tend to hear any of the voice actors. I tend to hear something completely different, and I feel like it's time for Sonic Team to kind of expand on what could be Sonic's voice rather than just having someone new try and copy the old voice actor, this, and that, and the fourth. You're gonna go a new direction with Sonic, and you're gonna go a new direction with how he's gonna sound. Just get a new voice actor. Doesn't matter the range, your voice is your voice. And I don't think Rogers really fits Sonic that much. He fits this version of Sonic we have now, the older, more reflective, more mature Sonic, but not the one a majority of us have grown up with, the carefree one. I don't know how they're gonna write Sonic in these newer games. Like I said, it was just a theory that this could be a new starting off point for Sonic, since the end of Frontier seemed like a solid resolution to the Sonic we've grown up with. But if it is a new direction, a new voice is needed, hands up in the air. But what I'm really trying to say is, Sega, please hire Max Middleman. Or, if you'd rather, Sega, please hire James Arnold Taylor. I'm begging you. I don't like that when I play Free Riders Through Frontiers, I can hear Sonic physically aging. He sounds like he's gonna need a walker soon. If I boot up Sonic 2026 and he sounds like he's one step away from the retirement home, I'll end it all. At the end of the day, these are changes that probably aren't going to happen, or if they do happen, not with the voice actors I selected. And at the end of the day, if I do boot up Sonic 2026 and it is Roger, I probably will smile ear from ear because it's Sonic. But what do you, the viewer, think? Do you think Sonic's VA should change? And if so, who do you want to be Sonic? Or are you just fine with Roger? And while you're at it, what other voice actors would you want to voice the other characters like Shadow, Silver, Amy, Tails, Knuckles, Eggman? I would totally have talked about them in this video, but I wanted to solely focus on Sonic because that would take a really long time. But yeah,